A little while ago, I made a video, a VR buyer's guide. And during that video, I went through a couple different headsets and ecosystems for VR and talked about the pros and cons of each one and why you would buy one over the other. I also went into a little bit of detail on what would be considered my sort of dream VR system. It was a HTC Vive Cosmos Elite with the wireless adapter kit and also the Steam or Valve Index controllers. And that was what I had touted as being my, my dream VR setup. So, over the break, I went and I got my dream VR setup. And here it is. So let's take a minute and talk about whether or not it sort of lives up to the reputation that I have given it. Shall we? All right, welcome back to Gadget Conquest, everybody. I hope you guys are having a good beginning of the year. I know, at least for us in the US, it's, well, a show, we'll say. But I hope everybody is safe, and I hope that nothing bad has happened to anyone that, you or anyone that you know, and I hope everybody is doing just fine. But moving on, let's talk about the HTC Vive Cosmos Elite that I have here, the wireless adapter for it, and also the Valve Index controllers, which I also have. So I just wanted to make this video to be sort of a follow-up on my dream VR setup and whether or not it's any good, especially since I have sort of upgraded from the Oculus Quest 2, which I still have. I just use it as I use it primarily for when I am visiting people, especially my parents. My mom is in love with using it, so I love to take it over there and have fun with them, and that's primarily what it's used for. It is no longer used as a desktop VR system because now I have a proper desktop VR system. So most of my comparisons are going to be between the Cosmos Elite and the Quest 2 because those are the ones that I own. I also used to own the Rift S, but I have since given it away to someone. So I will give a couple comparisons to the Rift S, but most of them are going to be to the Quest 2 in that regard. So first, getting into it, a big part of why I had recommended to people to, why I said people would even want to get the Cosmos Elite in the first place had to do with shipping. The Cosmos Elite is available on Amazon. If you have Amazon Prime, it's available with Amazon Prime shipping. It can come in as few as, well, it could come in the next day if you live in an area where they stock it in an Amazon warehouse. But on average, it'll come like in 2 days or whatever. So that is pretty quick, much quicker than the Valve Index, which when I actually went to order the Index controllers, the Index itself was still sold out and wasn't expected to ship for at least 8 weeks. So that's kind of a bummer. But this was available. I was able to get it, and actually during the time that I ordered it, it was still the holidays. It was still before Christmas when I actually ordered this thing, and that sort of made it arrive a little bit slower. I think it took 4 days instead of 2 days, but it was still pretty quick, and it was actually $100 off when I ordered it because HTC had dropped the price by $100 for the holidays, which is pretty cool. The price for the Cosmos Elite with the base stations and the controllers was about $7.99, and I think it's normally $8.99, although it might have been $6.99, normally $7.99. I don't, it's one of those two prices, we'll say, but it was $100 off. It's anywhere from $700 to $900, something like that. The Index controllers were in stock and did take longer to ship. The Index controllers, I believe, took like a week and a half, almost 2 weeks to actually arrive after being shipped, which kind of sucks. But it's not like I needed them immediately, especially since the Vive itself comes with its own controller, so I didn't immediately need the index controller, so it wasn't as big of a deal for them to arrive a little bit later. And then the wireless adapter here, or the wireless adapter kit, is this block here with the weird antenna there, and then you probably can't see it, but there's a weird thing right here on top of my computer, which is actually the transmitter, the antenna basically, for the WiGig card, which is a PCI Express adapter for Intel's WiGig technology, which is actually right there at the bottom of my motherboard, which you may or may not be able to see. You probably can't see it. The monitor's probably in the way, but I promise it's in there. The wireless kit was very expensive. I want to say it was something like $350. There is an alternative wireless kit by TP-Link, I believe, but in all honesty, I would always prefer to use the first party the first party kit when available, simply because I know that it's probably going to have the best build quality, and it's also going to have the most QC, and it's probably going to have the best warranty, if we're being honest. And the wireless kit arrived in the box with the Vive itself. They arrived together. I ordered them both from HTC. I actually didn't order it from Amazon, simply because the wireless kit from Amazon, if you want to get it for the Cosmos, you have to get the kit and then buy the Cosmos adapter, whereas from HTC, if you order it from there, they will sell you they'll sell you the kit for whichever headset you decide to use, so it'll come with whatever adapters are necessary in order to use it with that kit. In my case, so the adapters, there's this little bit here on the bottom that the strap goes through, and that part actually screws out, and depending on which kit you have, or which headset you have, you'll use a different bottom. If you get the kit from HTC, the kit will come with the bottom that you need already on it. You don't have to do any extra work, which is pretty cool, although it is still very expensive. This whole setup here, the index controllers, I believe, are like $275, something like that. This whole thing here is just under $1,500. It is a lot of money, and no, it's just a lot of money. That's hands down. It's just a lot of money. That's a lot of money. But let's talk about the VR experiences. We all knew that it was going to be a lot of money. We all knew it was going to be expensive. Let's talk about the experience itself. So this is a desktop VR headset, so I'm going to compare it to my personal experiences with the Rift S and also with the Quest 2 using the Oculus Link cable. So first of all, the tracking is so great. I love the inside-out tracking. It tracks really, really well. I personally don't have any issues with tracking. I know that people that are in spaces that have a lot of reflective surfaces or windows have been seeing some issues with their tracking. I haven't had any of those problems, so I can't really speak to them. The tracking has been great. I play a lot of archery games, and also I like to play games that just games in general that require you to reach behind your back. And in the Quest 2 and the Rift S, whenever I did something like that, I would lose tracking, and it was really annoying, especially in archery games, where what would happen is I would pull my hand back behind my head and lose tracking, and for some reason it would decide to just aim straight up. I'm not really sure why that would happen. It happened in a pretty few archery games. You had to sort of get used to keeping it in front of you like this, which just felt odd, especially because it had to be kind of lowered. I couldn't really do this. If you bring the controller too close to your face, you also lose tracking, so it's kind of a weird little lowered arm stance where it almost feels like you're gonna get into some kind of weird fist fight. So that was very odd. And the other thing that it would lose tracking on was with really, really quick movements. So I play a lot of Beat Saber, and in the Expert and Expert Plus modes, you're moving pretty quickly. I play in a very animated style where I try to make as big swings as possible and I try to move around as animated as possible, basically to tire myself out for no reason. But that's how I enjoy the game. So I make really large movements and I make them very quickly, and the Quest 2, I haven't done as much on the Rift S, but on the Quest 2, whenever I did that, both in desktop and in the mobile version of Beat Saber, it would lose tracking on the really quick movements, especially when they got close to the boundaries of my my guardian zone, the zone that it actually tracks in. When I got close to the boundary doing quick movements, it would actually lose tracking in that boundary and I would miss that note, which kind of sucks. You don't really want to have that happen to you when you're really in the moment and you think you're gonna, like, I don't know, say you're like, oh, I'm finally gonna do a full combo on this song on Expert Plus. I've never done that before. And then you miss one note because, not because you couldn't do it, but because the controller and the tracking couldn't keep up with your movements. That's kind of crappy. I have played Beat Saber extensively on the Cosmos Elite with this wireless setup and the index controllers, and I have had no issues with tracking. It has been very, very smooth, although I will say that because of the difference in shape between the index controller rather, and the Oculus controller, I've been using the Oculus controllers for so long at this point that I'm not quite used to this different shape. Especially during Beat Saber, because the saber itself comes out at a different angle, and I tried changing the angle to make it a little bit more similar to the Rift, but to the Oculus controllers, but I just couldn't get it right. So I'm still sort of learning and getting used to the index controllers. Not to say that they're not great, they are really cool, and having the hand presence in other games is really awesome. It's just that I'm not used to it yet because I got super used to the Oculus Touch controllers. Let's talk about the quality of the display on the Cosmos Elite, shall we? So it's still a 90 hertz display, that hasn't changed, but it does feel more fluid than the Quest 2 display does, and I think a big part of it is the fact that the Quest 2, while it can be a 90 hertz display, it's actually a variable refresh rate depending on what game you're playing, and it will go from anywhere from, I believe, 70 hertz up to 90 hertz, and seeing it dip below 80 hertz actually really hurts. You see what I did there? I see what I did there. Yeah, going below 80 hertz is sort of like the lowest end that I'm okay with. The Rift S was an 80 hertz, I believe, and I was perfectly happy with that. But seeing it go below 80 hertz was very, very noticeable, and the Oculus Quest 2 really had the issue where there were times where I could see it drop below 80 hertz, and it was like it lost the fluidity for me. It wasn't choppy, but it felt wrong. You know what I mean? But what it does have, what it did make up for, is the display quality. Honestly, I don't know if it's the display itself or the quality of the lenses themselves, but the display quality, like the fineness of it, just the overall look of it was honestly much better on the Oculus Quest 2, and I think that the color reproduction of the display itself was also quite a bit better than on the Cosmos Elite. The Cosmos Elite the display just isn't as good when it comes to the overall look and the color reproduction, and even the quality of the lenses themselves. These lenses, I can more clearly see the circular sort of style that they use to make the lenses work. Those rings that the lenses have, I can more clearly see them on here than I can on the Quest 2. It does kind of stand out. And then the field of view also feels smaller on the Cosmos Elite as well. But I think that the reason the field of view feels smaller is because, for me, the display can't quite get close enough to my head. There's this cushion in the front right here, this cushion here, that is really big, and it actually, the display sort of like can't tighten itself around my head hard enough, or the whole design can't tighten itself around my head hard enough to really press up against my head to get really close, because I need the display as close to my face as possible. Like, the less distance there is between me and the display, the better. And I have to really, really crank this thing tight in order to get that correct and get that proper field of view and that proper clarity. Once I have it cranked in, though, it is awesome. It works great. It looks great. And there's a big advantage in the Cosmos Elite in that it's bigger. Like, it looks bigger, right? It's in every way. But part of it being because of the fact that there's no phone in here, no battery in here. This thing weighs a lot less, or it feels like it weighs a lot less on your head. At the very least, the Quest 2 has the issue where it's really front heavy because all of the components are in there. You've got a battery in there. You've got the processor in there. You've got a lot of stuff going on in your face right there. And the Cosmos Elite doesn't have those things. It's just a display right in front of you. And because of that, it feels a lot more balanced. The movement feels a lot better, and it's a lot more comfortable because of that. And also because of the quality of this head strap. So it uses this halo design, which is very reminiscent to me of the Rift S, with this top bit here and then the back halo that cranks. Very, very reminiscent of the Rift S. Sort of similar to the Quest Elite strap, but the Elite strap doesn't have that front bit. And the front bit on this one is actually way more comfortable than the one on the Rift S was. So that's sort of a give or take kind of thing. The last thing that I want to talk about is the quality of the wireless. The wireless is just awesome. I love it so much. Being able to walk around and play full desktop games completely wirelessly with what feels to me like no latency whatsoever. Because I can play Beat Saber with this thing, and there's no latency. I can do it. And it's freaking awesome. Is it worth $350? That comes down to you. For me, I'm gonna say yes. I love it enough that it's worth the money, and this setup to me is definitely worth its weight, if that makes sense. But yeah, that's basically everything that I wanted to go over. I guess I could talk about the speakers. So this thing has these like weird drop-down headphones. They don't sound bad. They actually sound pretty good. The problem that I have with them is that they don't get close enough to my ears. So they sort of lose a lot of audio, which is kind of sad. Because if I press them up against my ears like this, they sound really good. But the problem is that I can't play if I'm like that the whole time. So it does kind of suck that they can't really get as close to my ears as I would like, but I don't feel the need, at least so far I haven't felt the need to take them off and try a different setup, because you totally could do that if you wanted to. There is a way to do that with, I believe you take this out and you can use regular headphones if you wanted to. That's totally possible. I don't know how it would work with this. No, I don't think this would get in the way. Oh, and the battery. So it comes with a, I believe 10,000 milliamp hour battery was the size of the battery. Yeah, here it is. It comes with I believe this is a 10,000 milliamp hour battery, or just under 10,000, something like 9,000 something. And it gets me about 2.5 to 3 hours of game time, most of the time. And then when I get off, it has like 1 dot left. So there is another option for the battery. You can get one that has a double the capacity. It's 20,000 milliamp hours, I believe. You just need to make sure that it can pass at least 21 watts over Qualcomm Quick Charge 3.0 or 4.0. because this thing needs 21 watts of power to pass through at 12 volts, which from my research, there's only one other battery that can do it, and it's the Anchor Speed Charge or something like that. I'll put the link to that battery in the description. But that's it. Does this thing live up to everything that I dreamed it would be? No. Does it live up to most of the stuff? Absolutely. It's a great experience. I love it. I would recommend it to anyone that's like me and cares more about the wireless than anything else, and really wants the index controllers. And that's about it. So I got nothing. Have fun. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you guys have a great week. I will see you in the next one. Do not forget to like, do not forget to subscribe. Bye.